It is unbelievable. We've never seen energy be a top issue. So that's why I think we're honored to have Anne. Are you on the line? Anne Bradbury?
I sure am, Matt.
Hey. Anne is the CEO of the American Exploration and Production Council. And I think you were on like in January, I think.
Yeah,
with Jack. But can you just tell us more about AXPC and some of the critical issues that you play in right now in terms of energy?
Absolutely. So first, let me compliment you on your very eloquent description of how important energy is to our American economy, national security, as well as our climate goals. That's what we work on every day here in Washington. AXPC is the National Trade Association that represents the leading independent oil and natural gas production companies in the United States. So our members produce over 50% of the nation's oil and gas. And, we believe that America is stronger and the world is safer when America leads in energy production. You may or may not be aware that today America produces more oil and natural gas than any country at any point in history. And we also lead the world in emissions reduction, showing that, you can have both. And in fact, one, oftentimes leads to the other.
So like what you just said, can we just unpack that a little bit here? Not only do we have, the production here in America, but can you just also clarify, this is cleaner. We do it cleaner than the rest of the world. Is that correct?
That is exactly correct. So America is one of the cleanest producers of oil and natural gas. So not just the single biggest producer, but one of the lowest emissions producers as well. And natural gas in particular emits about half as much as some higher emitting sources. And so because of the vast amounts of natural gas that we produce in this country, we have been able to lower emissions in the United States more than any other country in the world.
This is something we should be celebrating, right? I'm so happy to have you on. I'm so happy to talk about it. Finding a cheaper and cleaner and greener product. This is what the market calls for, and this is what is
right.
what you are providing. Where's the problem? Politics. Can you just talk about, you talk to engineers and they say, our job is to find the shortest distance between the problem and the solution. And then you talk with politicians and somehow that goes crisscross zigzag. Last time you were on the show, I think there was floated a ban against LNG. But now I think that's actually gone into effect. Can you just talk about, some of the political ramifications of this?
Sure. So, first we'll say that, the Biden administration paused LNG export approvals earlier this year. It's been lifted by a court, but a de facto ban is still in place. The Department of Energy is not approving any new LNG exports. And that's a huge problem for both American jobs, but also for our allies around the globe who are really questioning whether American energy is going to continue to be a reliable source of energy against other producers like Russia and Iran, which are the second and third biggest producer of natural gas in the world. So this pause is causing quite a bit of chaos and confusion in the global marketplace and really questioning our allies' commitment to support them against some of our adversaries who also produce natural gas. It also is really counterproductive to emissions goals because we know that natural gas displacing global coal is probably the single best tool that we have to reduce global emissions. And unfortunately, that's being sidelined right now because of political pressures that the Biden administration is feeling.
This is frustrating, right? People hear this. What you're talking about is solutions. We've been talking about solutions all day on Good Morning New Hampshire. So just to revisit this here. So not only is this cheaper for the American consumer, yay, and cleaner for the environment, yay, but you just mentioned some very, very, very critical geopolitical aspects to this here, right? We've been talking this morning about Vladimir Putin, who's held American hostages. We've been talking about Iran, which is working to destabilize the Middle East. Yet LNG, which has been paused, would actually, if we were able to produce and sell, we would be undercutting Putin's Russia and Iran only, with significant downside to them, yet only significant upside to us, both the consumer and as the global citizen. Is that correct? Am I getting this right?
You're spot on. That's exactly right. So, we've called the pause nonsensical because it both hurts American workers, it hurts, sort of emissions reductions, climate change goals. But what it really does is it empowers other global producers like Russia, like Iran, because we know the world needs this energy, and the question is, where are they going to get it from? They want to get it from the United States, but we need policies in place that support and allow that.
Again, could not agree more, and thank you for being such an expert on one of the most critical issues of our day. Obviously, President Biden's proposed ban is going to the courts. Do we know what Kamala Harris, is proposing? Has she talked about this issue at all?
So this is a great question. We know what her position was during the presidential primary. She was very clear that, she said, quote unquote, there is no question I'm in favor of banning fracking, starting with what we can do on day one around public lands. Her campaign has, created some distance from that statement. But however, we don't have any answers on what Vice President Harris's position is or how she would govern as president. So, to me, it raises a lot of questions. What has made her change her mind about her position to ban fracking? Is she now in support of fracking, and will she pursue policies that support American energy production? Will we restart leasing on federal lands for production of oil and natural gas on lands that are exclusively set aside for that purpose? Has been essentially halted under the Biden administration. So, will we see that restart? She was also a co-sponsor of the Green New Deal. Does she continue to support Green New Deal policies? And what is her position on the LNG export pause? Will she restart approvals of LNG exports? These are all questions that I think voters deserve answers to, because this is really critical.
Yeah, listen, Anne, you are making sense here, and here in New Hampshire, we like to be common sense on all the issues, and we actually get the opportunity sometimes to ask leaders directly their question, whether it's through print, through radio, or even at the old-fashioned town halls. So we can't thank you enough for the work that you're doing in this sector. We want to continue to have you on and continue to help press for more common sense for energy and to enable a better future for all.
Well, thanks, Matt. Thanks for what you're doing as well to amplify these really important issues and to, hear from a lot of, diverse voices on your show. It's really refreshing.
What an honor. Anne Bradbury, CEO, American Exploration and Production Council. Anne, thanks so much.